Hi there, and welcome to Leadershipisation, all things leadership. I'm Beth Bergen. I'm an award-winning leadership and communication coach. I work with individuals, but I also work with teams of people and small groups doing quite intimate, tailored leadership and communication coaching. So I'm here with you most Tuesdays around 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Leadership. It's a complex kind of a beast. And what I've discovered in working with my clients and through my own experience as a leader is that we're often involved in conflict resolution. It's something that we have to actually get out there and be actively involved in. But it's also something that even though we know we should get actively involved, it's something that we often shy away from. So if you're one of those people that shy away from it, or even if you're one of those people that, deals with it, let's get some conversation happening about it. It's actually really helpful to learn how to navigate disagreements. And it's particularly useful to learn a number of techniques so that you can facilitate creative disagreement amongst your team. Like, the reality is that conflict is going to be inevitable. And what I love about conflict is that it's all about evolution. It's all about growth. As a leader, it's how you address it and how you resolve it that's important, because that will significantly impact on the learning, the growth, and the innovation in your organization. So, something for you to think about as a leader. The first thing is, it's not about suppressing the disagreement. It's not about you not discussing it or not acknowledging it. And on the same token, neither is it about just coming up with a band-aid or a quick fix. If you can facilitate and manage creative disagreement appropriately, then you're going to really encourage a lot of deeper understanding, and that will lead to collaboration, and ultimately it can lead to innovation. So let's run you through some quick tips around dealing with creative disagreement. The first thing is, keep an open mind. Keep an open mind, because instead of saying what I want you to do in keeping an open mind is to see diverse perspectives, different points of view as an actual resource for you, rather than a problem, rather than a challenge, because those diverse perspectives are exactly what will bring you new ideas and solutions. My second tip is this: build that trust and that openness in your environment and in your culture, so that it's easy and safe, psychologically safe, for your team to express ideas and their concerns. Excuse me. You want them to be able to do that without fear of retribution, without fear that they're going to be laughed at or ridiculed. And when you've developed that sense of trust and openness, what it means is that the issues will be brought to light much earlier, because people will feel comfortable talking about what those issues are. The third tip for you is this: listen, listen, listen. Listen, and then understand, and then empathize. In any disagreement, if you're the facilitator, you need to be able to listen. Tip 4, encourage that constructive conversation. Encourage it so that what you can do is identify the underlying causes of the conflict. And then what you can actually do is you can start to use a range of more creative problem-solving tools. You can do brainstorming. You can use a number of proven tools that are out there to help you to actually get to the nitty-gritty of the conflict, but use it to spark that creativeness that will give you those new ideas. Tip 5, this is an important one. We've spoken about this before in Leadershipization. Manage your own emotions. Manage your emotions and be a real role model to others. At the same time as you're managing your own emotions, what's really important is that you're aware of the feelings of others and that you respond to them, and that you're able to acknowledge the emotional aspects of the conflict, because there will be some that are underlying. It's important that you recognize that creative disagreement or creative conflict is most often about difference. Different goals, different values, different perspectives, different expectations, different assumptions, different personalities, different preferences, different styles. That's why we have disagreement, because people see things from a different aspect. They see it from their own experience, with their own goals, values, perspective, expectations, assumptions, values, personality, all of those kinds of things. What I notice about creative conflict is that it's often referred to as functional conflict. And I wanted to remind you of that in this short piece today, because it's natural. It's natural for us to debate things. It's natural for there to be debate and argument about different concepts, about different practices that we have in place in an organisation. It's natural because people bring those different experiences, that different perspective with them. They bring those different assumptions. They bring, oh, we used to do it this way here. I see that you do it differently. Is there a way we can merge the two of them? And those are the things that lead to the generation of those new ideas. But they're also the very things that, that natural debate, that natural argument, they're also the things that help us to look at how we're going to implement this new idea. How are we going to put it into practice? How are we going to bring the team together to do that? It's an essential thing. And this is, the reason I'm having this conversation with you today is because, as I said in the beginning, so often we shy away from conflict. No conflict here. We want to be a group that gets on really well together. I would like you to leave, having listened to this, understanding that actually it's essential. Some functional conflict, some creative disagreement, some thoughtful disagreement, whatever label you want to put on it. This robust conversation, backwards and forwards, with a sharing of ideas, an opening of a mind, it's essential. It's essential to innovation, and it's essential to disruption. Organisations like Uber may never have started out if there hadn't been a creative disagreement. So many of those best ideas come out of something as simple as, I don't like that. I don't agree with that. Why are we doing it that way all the time? And because the people involved, the people around the table, the people in the room didn't shy away from conflict, they continued to have the discussion. Now, you might ask yourself, why is it that we don't encourage this creative disagreement, this functional conflict any longer? I've often asked myself that, and when I speak to my clients about it, we all come back to the same core message, and that is that these days it seems like it's almost too easy for these conversations to become really toxic really quickly. So as a leader, you've got to watch out for that. You've got to watch out for that. And maybe it's about, if you've got that trust and you've got that security in your team already, and they know that it's okay for them to speak, it's less likely to become toxic. But as a leader, you've got to be prepared to set a framework. This is how we're going to behave. This is the way we communicate with each other. We're going to listen to every single idea. That we won't be ridiculing anything that anybody says. And there are some techniques I'll share with you in a moment that will help you to do that. The other thing is that in creative disagreement, there's a lot of conversation that could be going on. But it's also important in amongst that you don't ignore what the big issue is. So as I've already said to you, it's important that you notice those, that you manage your own emotions. You've got that emotional regulation going on for yourself. But it's also really important that you don't then, how will I put it, that you don't ignore whatever the undercurrent is there, because that may well be the bigger issue. Sometimes people want to disagree with each other because they simply don't enjoy being around each other very much. And as the leader, you've got to be able to look to pick those things up. So, sometimes ignoring the big issue is, sometimes not ignoring the big issue, rather, is all about having the courage to actually call that behavior out. Okay? So what are some strategies that we can use? Well, the first one is this. You want to disagree. However, it wouldn't be appropriate to say, oh, that's a silly idea. Who would ever do that? So this is what I want you to use. You listen to what the idea is, and then you would say yes, and following, and you would add to the idea. You would put your thoughts in. Now, yes, and it's really important. Please don't use yes, but, because as I always say in workshops and with my clients, but is like a handbrake. It's kind of, oh yeah, what a great idea, but you can feel the brakes going on. So yes, and add to the idea. So you're changing the direction of the conversation with what follows on from the and. It's also important to remember this. You can't force others to think exactly the same as you do. You just can't. It's not going to work. So do your best to listen to what they're saying. As I said earlier, be open. Come with an open mind. Because then what will happen is that you will shift your thinking. You're more likely to shift your thinking a little bit, and they're more likely to shift their thinking. And as a team of people with diverse perspectives, you're more likely to get a consensus. And that's what creative disagreement is all about. Finally, here's something that I want you to remember. If you can approach this with this firmly implanted in your mind, it will make all the difference. Tell yourself and begin to live this habit. 10% of their idea is absolutely awesome. 10% is absolutely awesome. It's a little bit then about deciding which 10% is it going to be. So figure out which 10% and work and look to build on that. Okay? So as a leader, just to finish up, as a leader, you're the observer. Part of your role as a leader is to be observing what's going on throughout your team. So notice what's going on. And that means notice what's being said and also what's not being said. Make sure that you step into that role of facilitating. You're the leader. So if things are getting out of hand, or you think that the direction needs to be brought back to where it was, you're in charge of that. You do that. Step into that leader role. I know that there are many benefits from functional conflict or creative disagreement or thoughtful disagreement, whatever it is that you want to call it. We build up an understanding and many more skills. We're going deeper with this in my Leadership Intelligence program. So if you're interested in hearing more about that, please reach out to me. I'm happy just to have a short one-on-one to answer any questions that you might have. In coming weeks, I'll be doing a bit of a, I'll make sure that one of the leadershipization sessions focuses entirely on the content of my program. I also want to remind you that my online course, The Leader's Guide to Communication, is available now. It's very, very well priced and you get immediate access to it. So if you'd like more information about exactly how you could do that, just reach out to me and I'll share that with you. In the meantime, thank you so much for those who've watched this. If you've got any questions or comments, please pop them in the platform below and I'll make sure that we get back to you and answer those as quickly as possible. If you've watched a replay, #replay would be wonderful. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your week and I will see you